The Elitists Podcast.
Hey guys, this is Artosis, and you are listening to the Elitists Podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the reboot. I don't know if I should call this the Elitists episode 51 or episode 1. If you guys listened to the previous episode, you guys would know that we kind of stopped the podcast for about a month, and then we rebooted it as a brand new show. So I don't know what you would call it, 51 or 1, whatever. But this is the new format. It's going to be Meet the Press meets Starcraft 2. Welcome to the Starcraft 2 interview show, The Elitists. And I am going to be joined today by two people who are becoming huge Archons. That's a bad example, because Archons is actually a word in StarCraft. Two big people in the StarCraft 2 community. They jumped onto the beta right away. They were both reasonably successful commentators back in their day, and now they're unparalleled. First of all, welcome back to the show for the third time, Husky StarCraft from the Husky StarCraft YouTube channel.
Yeah, hey, what's going on, guys? Yeah, it is my third time. I thought it was only my second, but you were right. It is definitely my third time.
And his other good friend who is new to the show, we got HD. How's it going, HD?
Hey, what's going on? Glad to be here.
Excellent. I hope you guys are having a blast. You guys seem really busy these days with the amount of stuff. You guys, your names are everywhere. Let's just say that. Whew.
Yeah, we do have a lot of stuff going on. We have, of course, our HDH, and then our personal projects. Like I do a bunch of, just side videos, kind of use map setting videos, personal videos, all that stuff. So it's almost like a full-time job now. We're so dedicated to it, and yeah, it's eating up all of our time. But I can speak for myself. I'm saying I'm having a total blast, and we've been pretty successful ever since the launch of the beta. So we're just riding on that, having a good time, and hopefully continue to upload as much content as possible.
All right, well, let's start at the beginning, because Husky, this is your first time on actually since the beta started, and this is HD's first time on the show in general. So why don't I go around and ask you guys how you have enjoyed the beta experience so far?
I'll just start, I guess, and then HD can follow up. I absolutely loved the beta. I was so skeptical when they were showing some of the stuff, like, just way back in the day, like when they were talking about the beta. Like, I didn't like the idea of a mothership and stuff like that. I thought that they were going to just fail hardcore at this beta. But it was Blizzard, so I stuck with them. And just even at the launch of beta, I played nonstop for like 48 hours pretty much. And then I was like, wow, I'm not tired of this game yet. And I continued playing it. And then ever since then, just with the whole, YouTube channel, people love to see the videos I upload, so I work on that a lot. And then just running our tournament, I couldn't have asked for a better beta, really, because I've followed some of the WoW betas and stuff like that, betas for, lesser-known games, and they never seem to quite get the beta so accurate right off the bat. Even with WoW, I think that WoW had a long way to go with the last beta. But with StarCraft 2, it almost felt like they were releasing a finished product. Like, yeah, sure, there were some imbalances and some tweaks here and there, but other than that, it pretty much was like a game ready to go. What's depressing is that their beta was better than probably any RTS, in my opinion, although I'm probably a little biased, better than any RTS released in at least the last 5 years. I do like some of the Command & Conquer games, so I got to give them some credit. But they just nailed it, and I'm having a blast, and I look to the future because this game is going to be huge. Not only has it convinced me that it's a awesome beta, but it's also convinced all the StarCraft, well, I won't say all, I think it's convinced most of the StarCraft 1 players that Blizzard wants to make this right and make it awesome. So I'm looking forward to the next 10 years of enjoying StarCraft 2, so I love it.
Yeah, I just want to say it's absolutely incredible how in-depth the beta is for just that. It's just a beta right now. And, of course, I just want to say that the level of competition right now in the beta is absolutely phenomenal. You look at most games, and they usually don't have multiple tournaments going on. just like the TL Invitationals or the Razor Domination Tournament, or even our own tournament that we're running, the HDH Invitational. No other beta really comes close to the level of competition. I think even Blizzard was surprised when they saw how many people are running tournaments and how popular the pro scene has already become in StarCraft 2. Just speaking from my own kind of viewpoint, I love the beta. It's so awesome. The game feels really polished already. I'm not going to say it's fully there yet because I think there's a lot of things that can be done. And of course, a lot of that comes down to Blizzard listening to the community, but also at the same time not implementing what everybody wants and really making the decision on their own. They alone are the ones who developed the game for the last couple of years. So when they make those calls to change certain mechanics, or for example in the latest patch, the Phoenix being able to move and attack at the same time, those are kind of changes that half of it's been input from the community and half of it is their own kind of push the button and go. With regards to that, I think the competition is very good already. I just want to say that I've been practicing a lot. I've been playing a lot of ladder, and every week it seems like there's some kind of new strategy that pops up, and that's very reassuring for a game for an RTS genre game, because you need to have different strategies. And these are things that took Brood War 10 years to learn, like Mutalist stacking micro, the fact that Reaver Scarabs don't always hit their duds, certain builds like the Bisu build or Savior's 3-hatch Muta. These kind of things are things that take time to practice and learn. But I just want to say, like in the beta already, there's been certain abilities and things that have stuck out. For example, recently we've seen Noni's Phoenix play against Zerg. Phoenixes before that were seen relatively as pretty weak, and you would never see it in Zerg play. Another thing we've seen a lot is roaches being burrowed underground, and similar to the old lurker mechanic from Brood War, where you'd actually burrow them and pop them out underneath a huge clump of units. We've seen that especially in the Razor Domination Finals, where Slush actually used that, I believe, against Cthon Luck, and he used that very effectively, just unburrowing mass roaches underneath a Terran army. So we've seen a lot of different builds, a lot of different variation. For example, 4-gate against Zerg, 4-gate against anything really. And it's just been awesome. I think there's a lot of builds. It's still evolving. There's still things to learn. But it's important for Blizzard to know, I think they should wait before they nerf certain things, because you never know what they might nerf that could have been so effective. For example, right now the Thor ship is something that's super effective, and then they just nerfed it. Who knows? There could have been a counter that would have evolved to that would have been possible. Like before, Thor ship was very, very hard to stop, especially as Zerg, because they two-shot everything. And then they just nerfed the damage that the Thor does into something more constant over time. So they've got to be careful what they nerf, because you got to ask yourself, if it was Brood War right now, they might have nerfed Mutalist Micro, they might have nerfed the Reaver, things like that over time it just takes time to learn how to counter.
That was great. You know, another thing I noticed was on the 17th of February to this date, there was still complaint threads constantly going around about MBS and Automine, and then February 18th, they all died.
Yeah, I think on that point specifically, there was actually a poll recently. Well, it wasn't recently. I guess it was quite a while ago. And it was after the release of beta, and it was like, what is your biggest concern with beta currently? And the auto mining thing before beta was at the top. Now it was at the very bottom. No one cares about that anymore. It's because people are afraid of change, and I don't blame them, because there was a lot of stuff that shouldn't change from StarCraft 1. I mean, that's what made StarCraft 1 so great. But the thing about the whole auto mining and multiple building selection and stuff like that is in StarCraft 1, when that game came out, number one, that technology or whatever you want to call it hadn't been invented yet. No one even thought of that. And so that's the only reason it wasn't in there. If it was invented back then, you can bet whatever you want that they would have put that in there. And it also opens up the game to a lot more creative players who may not be, 15 years old with lightning fast hands. What we've been watching a lot of the replays from the HDH, and a lot of the top players only at about 120 APM. To play at the level that they're playing now in StarCraft 1, you would have needed about 300 or 400, which is interesting because that just shows that most of the APM was in, clicking each individual building and making sure your workers are doing everything specifically. Like when you make a new worker, you have to put them on the minerals and all that stuff. And so I think that it opens it up to a lot more creative play. and that's going to allow a lot more players who may be better like mentally, but not perfect mechanics like Flash. And so I definitely think that's going to make it a lot more competitive. It's really good for the game, and I think people are starting to realize that because, yeah, sure, in StarCraft 1 you could feel awesome that you had a perfect split and you're always getting your workers on the minerals and blah, 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 but at the end of the day, like, that's such kind of a gimmicky thing when there's new technology that they can use, like in StarCraft 2. They even had it in Warcraft 3, and so I really think that no one's even talking about that anymore. Because they're focused more on strategy, more on making good decisions, tricking your opponents. I mean, you still need good mechanics. This game, they did add in a lot of extra mechanics that aren't in StarCraft 1. So say you play Zerg, if you aren't using your injection with your larva, you're gonna have like less than half the units as your opponent. So there is a lot of room for good mechanics, but a lot of